Why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Okay, so today's story will be very uncomfortable to listen to, but it's a story that we all must be willing to have the courage and the toughness to listen to. Some stories you're like, man, I have so many things going on in my life. I don't want to hear a story like this, but it's happening. In America, according to the FBI, there are 359,094 entries for missing children as of 2022. We don't hear a lot about it. You know, when we had George Floyd incident, everything shut down. Every mainstream media talked about it. $2 billion of damages, local business owners. It had to be on all of our minds. But here's a question for you. 359,000 children missing. Tell me what's more important than talking about something like that. No one wants to talk about it. Why? It's uncomfortable. The audience doesn't want to hear the story. Come on, just leave it alone. Let's talk about politics and Trump and economy and all this other stuff. We chose to talk about it. And today's guest is a brave woman who has been talking about this for the last 11 years. Some of you may have heard her story before. Some of you may have not. There's certain things she's going to say today she's never said before. And that takes a lot of courage to take. But I'm looking forward to having this conversation with Anneke Lucasin. Thank you so much for being here with us on the podcast.
My pleasure.
So I go through the story. And for a person that reads this, you think it's a movie. You don't think it's real when it says trafficked as a young child at 6 years old, sold by her own mother to Belgian pedophile ring, and you counted the number of hours you were raped that I saw, and used your words when you say this, 6 hours a week, 1,716 hours before the age of 12. I listened to that. I'm like, that is unbelievable to hear someone go through it, but that's your life. So if you don't mind, and I know this is not easy to do, if you don't mind taking a few minutes and sharing with the audience your story, and we'll take it from there.
A few minutes.
We'll be together for 2 hours, but the story.
Okay. Yes, essentially, my mother was mentally ill, I guess. Never diagnosed, and she was single at first, and I was abused very early on. She was married when I was 3. And then first, this couple came into our lives. The woman was the cleaning lady, and she and her husband would take me on outings when I was 5. That started, and so that went on for a whole year. I didn't like them. I never wanted to go. I had to. My mother had my brother then, and after a year, they took me. They took me to an event, and it was immediately extreme. It was in a castle. It was horrific. And my mother, I tried to tell her that bad things had happened. You know, I didn't have the language, obviously. It was just around my 6th birthday. And my mother then took over from these pimps. She then started driving me to locations. She would receive a call. She would drive me. I found out later that she was paid. These were in Belgium. For 3 years, I was just trafficked in Belgium. And the head of that, I call it the network, in Belgium was the Minister of National Defense at the time, Paul van den Boeinans. And he used the children to get new people in, and also to give them sometimes to really, through blackmail.
You said he was the national defense. He became a 2-time prime minister later on, right?
Yeah.
So this is before he serves as a prime minister.
It might have been after also. He served twice. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Could have been before and after.
Yeah.
So at this point, when this is happening to you, you know who he is, or you don't know who he is?
No, I didn't know anybody at the moment. At that time, I didn't know who anybody was. I had no idea.
How did you learn about who they were afterwards?
In my adult life.
How though?
Well, they were very easy to find. Most of them were very easy to find. I would just, if I remembered a name, and just started remembering people, thanks to Google, really just starting to Google and finding them very easily.
Just the faces you would recognize, or what was the method?
Yeah. Yeah. Looking for their positions. I would know whatever I had, I would type that in, and then usually they would come up right away. That was the surprise. That was the big surprise, really, that I had no idea that they were this prominent when I was a child.
And when this is happening to you at the time, they don't have a name. They're not coming to you with a name. You don't know who it
Well,
is.
him, I called him Polo.
Polo.
Polo, but his name is Paul. But there's other children that named him something else. So I called him Polo, and then some people I knew their first name. But yes, they're very visible. Some I've found out from quite a few perpetrators when they die, because then they're in the newspaper and I suddenly see their picture.
So how many of them you knew about when they were alive? You said that's this person, that's that person when they were alive.
Well, actually, I've recognized quite a few when they died, and that's not only, I think, because I may have remembered certain things, but I may have not remembered who they were specifically, to keep myself safe in some strange way. That the healing that then followed, I just understood that it wouldn't have been safe. I wouldn't have been able to keep myself safe, if that makes sense, because the healing process is so involved, and it does. There's certain perpetrators I was very attached to emotionally. I know that may be very hard to understand and believe, but I was very attached emotionally to some of these, which were like fathers.
What was your relationship with your father like?
Well, my biological father, I didn't meet until much later. I never met him.
How old were you the first time you met him?
18. And so he didn't recognize me. And then my stepfather was the man who closed his eyes to all my mother's activities. And so my brother is his. And I think the reason my brother wasn't trafficked was maybe because he was clearly more interested in my brother. So he just really closed his eyes. But I did try to tell him, and I write that in my book, by the way. I did try to tell him, and he didn't believe me when I was a child. So my mother he was away a lot. He was a cameraman. He was traveling a lot. But when he was there, she would literally get out of their bed, and then I would be ready in my bed, and then she would let the car drive down, just let it without turning on the engine, just to be quiet. And then at the bottom of the driveway, she would start the motor, and she would drive me to events, and then she would pick me up around dawn. That was how it usually worked. And he was asleep in bed, and I thought later maybe he thought she was having affairs. She was doing that also, but he never wondered. And she made up stories also about what had happened to me. For example, at one point she started saying that I was a real tomboy, and then I was climbing in trees, which I never did, and I was not a tomboy. But she was saying that because I was covered in bruises. And so that explained it. And then he accepted whatever she said.
When your mom is dropping you off or picking you up, the first time this happened, how was she explaining to you? Like, are you pleading and saying, Mom, please don't take me anymore to a place like this? I don't want to go there. And if you said that, what did she tell you?
Well, I think my mother's a psychopath, that she really had one victim, that was me. So I was an extension that deserved all her wrath. So I have said I wasn't going to go, and she dragged me by my hair one time. But most of the time, because I was her little helper, I was trying to please her more than anything. And then my mother was extremely sadistic.
But did you ever plead and say, Mom, please don't take me today? Please don't take me today?
I said, I once said, I'm not going.
And what she tell you?
She dragged me by my hair. She would get very anxious before we left. But of course I was going to go. I mean, you understand, children, and you have children. So children are going to do whatever, I was doing everything to please her. I was trying. She was the person I was most attached to. So I was trying to tell myself that she loved me, because you have to know that you're loved as a child. And so I was trying to please her as much as possible. So most of the time I wasn't going to do anything against her. But there was another element, is that with my mother, because she never saw me, she just saw whatever she saw was an extension, something that just was nothing, had nothing to do with me. Because she didn't see me at all, I was receiving more reflection of things that were true about me by these pedophiles in the network, frankly, that were seeing intelligence, or they were seeing beauty. And so at times it was actually more comfortable. It was better to be in the network than to be with my mother, because that constant projection of hers was very difficult to live with.
So this entire time, when she's dropping you off and picking you up, you're not controlled. Like, it's, you see it in the movies where the owner has you in a room upstairs and people come in and out and they handle their business and you're away from mom and dad. That's not the case. This is mom is dropping you off and coming and picking you up at dawn.
Yeah, so it was different in that way, that my mother was not in the network herself, although she wanted to. She looked up to these people. She would have done anything to belong. But because I think her particular way that her mental illness showed, she was almost too enthusiastic. She would not have been able to keep the secret. So she didn't get in, but it was as if she was envious that I was. It was as if she was sending me in her stead, that she would have wanted that kind of sexual attention. That's really what she wanted all the time, the sexual attention.
How was her relationship with her mom and dad?
She was born in 1939, before the war. Her mother died when she was 5, just after the war. And so her father, whom I did know, he was inappropriate. He did one thing to me that was inappropriate. So
her father, your
her
grandfather.
father. So she grew up in a town in Belgium during the war, in her early years during the war, and then lost her mother at a very early age. And I can only assume that there was sexual abuse happening, because that's how she always acted. I have gone through more than 30 years of healing from sexual abuse, all kinds of sexual abuse. And so that journey of healing, which is really, what makes me aware of these things, that's, she acted like someone who was sexually abused and never understood that she was more than that. When you get, as a child, there's something that happens when you're a child and you're innocent and you're the light of God, and you are innocent, and your innocence is your true self. That's who you are. That's your light. And when you are sexually abused, it's like you feel that you've lost that innocence and that you can never have it back. There's the trauma of sexual abuse is such that, when trauma means you're going to hope, you wish that it was yesterday. If there's a big loss, you just want it to be the day before, when this hadn't happened yet. You just want to go back. With sexual abuse, it's like they steal your light. They steal your life. They steal your innocence. And you feel that you've lost it because you're a child and you don't know that you don't deserve this, because you assume that you did. And then there are children that can never get back to that light. And the network, and the way that the network operates, is all to keep you in the dark. And it's run by people that are not in touch with themselves on that pure level, on that level of, I am light, I am a child of God. And when that's lost, when the abuse gives this message that I have to put out sexually in order to be loved, then you get this message. Then that's how you get validated. That's how you want your attention. And my mother acted like that, like someone who had no connection to herself and who was just constantly constantly trying to get sexual validation from all men.
So you and your mother from 6 years old till what age was it? Till
11.
11 years old. This is happening when you're saying 6 hours a week. That's the specific number you gave.
I gave that specific number, but it's an approximation. It wasn't every week. And sometimes it wasn't every week, but other times I was gone for the summer of 1972. I was gone 2 months from home. I wasn't home at all.
Where were you at? You were with the traffickers?
I was with the traffickers.
And your
I was
mom wasn't there with you?
The first month, no. The first month I was in the United States, being trafficked in the United States by a powerful billionaire who was basically triaging me and training me in his homes.
Who is this?
I'm not saying who that is yet. I have to be careful what I say. I can't just flop these names out. I have to.
Would this be a person we would know?
Definitely, you would know the name.
Alive or dead?
Dead. He was, he was taking me here. I was in the United States, so I was either in his homes, 3 of his homes I spent time in, or I was in the room in the daytime sometimes in a bedroom, or I was even at a family's near DC for a week. Basically parked in a nice family that treated me well, probably satanic family, and that were very happy to do a favor for this man. And then I was, after that, was taken to Germany, and I was there for another month in a facility in Heidelberg for what was my mind control training. And this is 1972, and I was 9 years old.
Mind control training at 9 years old.
Yeah.
Why did they take you there?
When I met this billionaire, so in 1972, you had the Bilderberg meeting that happened in Belgium. So for that event, Paul van den Boeinans made sure that he probably did many things around there, but basically to please this powerful American that was there for the Bilderberg meeting, he staged a ritual.
And so why would they need to train you, though?
The mind control training, he had plans for me. And, all right, I can say something. He had me in his homes and everything to get me used to the life of the elite, so that I would know how to eat, so that I would recognize good clothes, so that I would be comfortable in these environments. And alongside that, we went to on one of the islands on the northeastern coast of the United States and saw there, and this was a Rothschild who was there.
Rothschild.
A Rothschild, yeah.
And is this who you're talking about?
Yeah, so I'm saying we were with Evelyn the Rothschild for 1 day only. And it was clear that this billionaire, who you would think is just as powerful as this Rothschild, was not as powerful in the network as he was. And he was asking for permission to make the star that he wanted to make of me. Well, he didn't want to make me into a star. He wanted to make me into an elite sex slave where I would become famous in France. And then with that role, I would attract the most powerful men in the world, and I would be able to spy on them for him and so forth.
Was that David Rockefeller?
I'm not saying. I can't say this. All right.
Only reason I say that is because I pulled up the list from 2012 attendees, and I went through all the guests on the right that says U.S. from the Bilderberg meeting.
Okay.
Rob, if you go a little bit lower and zoom in and you put U.S., yeah, right there, you'll see the names that shows. I know this is...
Just give me a minute. Well, I can't lie, but it's scary. Yeah, might as well. Okay, there you go.
You've never
out.
talked about this.
I've never said his name.
You know, you hear these stories and you wonder, there's no way these people are capable of doing something like that. At what point did you know it was him?
When he died.
2017.
Yeah.
So you didn't know till 2017.
But I knew a lot, but I didn't know that it was him.
So how did you know it was him when he died in 2017? Because that was just 7 years ago.
Immediately. I knew immediately. I just saw his face. And first of all, I saw his face, and then immediately a lot of other memories came back with him.
How much time did you spend with him?
Well, I spent quite a lot of time with him in the beginning. So from 72 to 73, this training. So I spent quite a lot of time with him in the US in that first month, in July of 1972, and spent time in his estate in Westchester, and also in his home in New York City, and also in his home in Maine. And on the way to Maine, on his sailboat, we stopped off at the Rothschild, who had to give his permission for the persona that he wanted to make out of me. And then Rothschild invited me into the family, and I gave I certainly, I had not been treated very well up until then. So suddenly I get a very nice invitation. I feel, even this training, even though there was a lot of sex training also, just let's not make any mistakes here. This is not like, I was just suddenly being treated really well. I was being trained sexually as well. But it was the best I'd ever seen in my life at age 9. And when I was invited,
Meaning treatment of elites, like lifestyle, wealth? Is that what you mean by treatment?
No, in the first 3 years in the network by Paul van den Boeynant, I was treated like absolute piece of dirt.
What does that mean?
I was the lowest of the low. He always treated me like, he wasn't worth the time for him to even have I don't know, chewing gum on his soul or something, and he just had to pull it off, and just resented having to spend any time on me. But he was selling me all over, or whatever he was doing. He was using me for blackmail for people that were supposedly new, or he was giving me to depraved aristocrats. But he didn't want to, I was treated, most of the time I was treated like I was absolute piece of dirt, like I had no value at all.
Did he himself sexually abuse you or no, Paul?
He beat me up.
But not sexually abused you?
I did not get sexually abused by him. He was extremely sadistic. So he did not sexually abuse me. He abused other children, though. And I don't remember being sexually abused by him. But he and a few others that were in charge there just really would treat me like the lowest of the low. So I was used to sort of knowing that it was them, it was their fault. I knew that they treated me that way, but I know that I'm human. So I didn't really fully take it seriously. And I was kind of playing the game to survive, playing this game of whatever they needed me to do. I was doing it. And then in 1972, suddenly 3 years later, I got, treated as very special. And this treatment had a lot to do with the excitement that David Rockefeller felt over the fact that he loved being behind the scenes, creating this slave, this elite sex slave, who was going to make him millions. And I was already sold in the first year. In that year, till I I gave my will to the Rothschild. And he asked specifically, he asked, will you be part of the family? And I said, yes. And he asked me to say, I will give my will. And a year later, I did not give my will anymore. And that's why I'm here. But I got, yeah.
Why would Rockefeller do that if he's got billions at the time? That's a very powerful family.
He was a pedophile, first of all. And these families
Rothschild and David, or more David?
The Rothschild, I don't think, was a pedophile.
But David...
He was more powerful, but he was not a pedophile. David Rockefeller was a pedophile. There's a lot of survivors. I work with survivors. There are a lot of survivors out there of David Rockefeller. But I saw him in a certain light, and I've met one other person. Now that we named David Rockefeller, I can tell you that the place where I was taken in Germany, in Heidelberg, the doctor that was in charge there, Hans Harmsen, I have met another survivor that was also a special project of David Rockefeller. And Hans Harmsen, who was the doctor in charge there, she was there too as a special project of him. And she also came across Hans Harmsen.
Harmsen?
Hans Harmsen.
Harmsen.
Yes. There you go. There you go.
And who was he?
I think that he was in charge of the special project of David Rockefeller for the mind control training. And I know one other survivor who went through similar experiences as myself later on.
Did you ever meet him?
Meet him? Oh, yeah.
What was he like?
Horrendous.
Unpack it.
Okay. The way that you're trained in mind control training, it's based on torture. What I was used to doing as a child sex slave was to please men in some way or other, to get on their wavelength so that they wouldn't harm me, so that I could survive. With him, I never got anywhere. I never got through it at all. Most of these pedophiles, you could get through in some way. There's some way in which, I could sense intuitively what I needed to do to please them. So with him, there was nothing that I could do to get through to him. It was just completely mean and vicious. And one thing that he would do is I was forced to watch certain things to learn about men's behavior, whether it was, it was their weakness or their sexual preferences or their sexual
desires,
perversions, their sexual perversions. So we're not talking about regular sexual, we're talking about sexual perversions, to recognize those. And so I was forced to watch the films. And first I would see the man in the behavior, just his face, and then seeing it in the behavior, different things. And then I would need to guess based on a face what this person would do. And if I got it wrong, one thing that he did is he would just strangle me until I fainted. And in the fainting...
He would?
Yeah, he would, yeah. And in the fainting, he liked to strangle. And in the fainting, I would...
No joo, olihan tuossa aika... Voi vaikka laittaa tuon linkin tuohon nyt tähän samaan pätkään, mutta aika rankkaa kuunneltavaahan tää on nyt. Eli tosiaan tiivistetysti, niin tämähän ei ole tietysti mikään ihan kiva aihe käsitellä, mutta tosiaan tuo kyseinen nainenhan on siis tämmöinen belgialainen, se on tällainen entinen lapsiseksiorja, niin kuin se kertoi tuossa. Että semmoiset ovat ihan todellisia. Käytännössä niistä koulutetaan tämmöisiä niin sanottuja seksiagentteja, niin kuin toi Anneke tuossa kertoi.
Ja se oli ollut CIAn psykologisen kidutuksen ohjelman kohteena, eli joka perustuu opittuun avuttomuuden tilaan, eli mielen murtamiseen, jonka jälkeen ihmistä pystytään ohjelmoimaan, vähän niin kuin Jason Bourne-leffoissa, että sen jälkeen ihmistä on helpompi ohjelmoida. Ja näki just ton katseen heikkoudesta, että mieli on murrettu ja alistuu helposti asioihin sun muita. Ja sitten
Ja sitten toihan perustuu nimenomaan traumoille, koska ja sitten jos lapsi onkin traumatisoitu, niin siitä on paljon helpompi luoda tuollainen.
On joo. Ja sitten voidaan luoda kaksoispersoonallisuus, jota esimerkiksi noilla Manchurian kandidaateilla tehdään tuossa mind controlissa. Eli opittu avuttomuuden tila ja sitten se sitoutuu, laukastaan se, siinä ohjelmoidaan aivoalue, joka laukeaa jollain koodijutulla tai tuolla. Se on vähän niin kuin jos mieli on jakautunut, niin toimii.
Tuo on muuten totta, mitä tuossa chatissa kirjoitetaan, että siis nimenomaan tuosta Anneke Lucasistahan oli tarkoitus tulla joku kuuluisa laulaja. Et siis se voi olla, että jopa Celine Dionin kaltaiset kuuluisuudet on oikeasti tuollaiseksi koulutettu. En toki voi väittää, mutta siis se on tuo maailma niin karua, että tämmöiset tunnetut laulajat voi olla oikeasti tämmöisiä vanhoja lapsiseksiagentteja.
Joo.
Sehän on täydellinen kulissi vielä semmoiselle toiminnalle.
Joo. Hollywood kutsuu sitä vielä MK Ultra, siis lopetettiin vuonna 1973, mutta se oli vain osa CIAn psykologisen kidutuksen ohjelmaa, mutta Hollywood kutsuu sitä vielä MK Ultraksi. Mutta eri tyypit ohjelmoidaan eri tavalla, että se on se opittu avuttomuuden tila, mielen murtaminen ja sitten ohjelmoidaan millä tavalla halutaan.
Niin ja sitten siinä on monesti tuo kuvio, että siellä heidän vanhemmat, jompikumpi vanhemmista myy sitten sen lapsen tämmöiseksi lapsiseksi orjaksi. Tämän naisen, niin se tytön äiti myy sen.
Joo. Ja sitten se on todellakin niin kuin osa tätä ihmisorjaa. Sen takia pitää puhua ihmisorjakaupasta eikä lapsiorjakaupasta erikseen, koska se on yhtenäinen alue. Että siinä on kaikki sisäelimet ja adrenokromea, lapsiorjakauppa, ihmisorjakauppa ja sitten niin kuin orjat, joilta varastaa henkistä pääomaa ja tämän tyyppistä. Niin siksi on parempi puhua ihmisorjakaupasta kuin pelkästään lapsiorjakaupasta, koska se toimii paremmin myös lapsiorjakaupan yhteydessä. Siitä sanotaan erikseen ihmisorjakaupan lapsiorjakauppaa. Se on niin laaja teollisuuden alueena, se on noussut yhdeksi isoimmaksi teollisuuden huumeiden, aseiden ja lääkkeiden ja öljyn rinnalle, ihmisorjakauppa. Et sen takia tämä pedofilia sun muu on niin yleistä ja kannattavaa, tai siis tämä siihen liittyvä business, että se on niin iso bisnestä.
Mutta sitten kato, ihan Suomessakaan toimittajat uskalla tällaisia asioita vuotaa, koska siis tätä maailmaa, missä toi Anneke tuossa puhuu, tuo belgialainen nainen, niin siis tämmöisiä lapsiseksiorjia on ikävä kyllä myös Suomessakin.
On.
Se on niin vaiettu aihe kuitenkin, että hyvin harvat uskaltaa puhua.
Joo, mutta se ei ole tässä ihmisorjakaupassa niin kuin kansainvälisesti mukana, koska se on isompi teollisuuden alue. Jäänyt kiinni myös, että varastaa itse lapsia sun muuta. Ja sitten tässä kansainvälisessä CIAn illuminaattiohjelmassa, joka on Suomessakin toimii, niin CIA pitää salassa näitä pedofilirinkiä, lapsiseksitoimintaa, ja Suomen valtiokin alistuu siihen.
Sehän on aina niin kuin tuo Anneke Lucaskin sanoi tuossa, että siis sehän Evelyn de Rothschild koulutti hänestä tuollaisen seksiorjan käytännössä. Ja sitten se väitti, että se oli David Rockefellerin palveluksessa.
Uskovat, siis ne on niitä tahoja, jotka uskovat psykologiseen ohjelmointiin, mind controlliin, sama kuin Vatikaanissa tapaava illuminaatti, joka on erikseen tästä CIAn illuminaatista, mutta siis psykologisen ohjelmoinnin ja mind controlin jengiä, jotka ohjelmoivat myös omia lapsiansa ja omaa perhettänsä mielellään.
Toi on muuten tuo kyseinen nainen, niin sehän oli jo 2 vuotta sitten avautunut näistä aiheista. Että
Mostly. But there were a number of aristocrats that were part of this club who also
Hei, Teemu, voitko pysäyttää pysäytyskuva hetkeksi? Niin katsokaa tätä silmiä. Ensinnäkin heikot silmät ja sitten lasittuneet paikallaan silmät. Et posttraumaattinen stressisyndrooma esimerkiksi, joka sodassa palavilla on, niin silmät niin kuin lasittuneet, niin voimakas hermostojännitystila päässä, että silmät on ihan lasittuneet ja jäykät ja isot pupillit samaan aikaan heikot alistuvat silmät. Että murrettu psyykkisesti, mutta posttraumaattinen stressitila päällä, kun puhuu aiheesta.
Niin, no se on aina, kun tuossa trauma jää sinne silmiin käytännössä, ja se pystyy lukemaan sieltä katseesta.
Posttraumaattinen stressi näkyy usein tuollaista, niin kuin pupillit on isot ja silmät on paikallaan ja jäykät, ja silleen, niin kuin näkyy sotilailla usein, ja muut vakavasta trauman saaneilla ihmisillä, joilla on syntynyt posttraumaattinen stressitila.
Mutta olisi kyllä maailmanlaajuisesti on hyvin harvat, jotka on niin selvinnyt tuollaisista kuvioista. Että käytännössä siis niin moni tuollaisista henkilöistä, jotka on lapsena tuollaista joutunut kokemaan, niin nehän saattaa narkata itsensä hengiltä. Tai...
Joo. Jos valittaa tuollaista, niin leimataan mielenterveysongelmaiseksi, että kuten Bidenin tytär valitti, niin sai mielenterveyshoitoa. Joe Bidenin, Amerikan presidentin tyttärillä annettiin mielenterveyshoitoa, kun valitti isästäänsä.
Olikohan se muuten näin, että tuo Anne Heke olisi ollut paljastamassa jotain pedorinkeä. Autokolarissa sattui kuolemaan, ja tuossahan sitä niin kannetaan ruumispussilla sitten autokolarin jäljiltä.
Mutta siis se on osa ihmisorjakauppaa, isompi teollisuuden alue, sama kuin öljy, aseet, huumeet, lääkkeet, niin sen takia CIA on kansainvälisesti mukana ja CIAn Illuminati-ohjelman kansainvälisesti mukana ihmisorjakaupassa. Ryöstetään ihmisiltä henkistä pääomaa, rahaa ja sitten lapsiorjakauppaa, sisäelinkauppaa ja kaikkea. Se on niin iso bisnes kuin isoimpia teollisuuden alueita tällä hetkellä, niin sen takia perustellaan sotilaallisista muista syistä siinä mukana olo. Ja CIAn kansainvälinen Illuminati-ohjelma on mukana siinä.
Mitä sä muuten tarkoitat CIA kansainvälisellä Illuminati-ohjelmalla?
Tarkoitan se CIAn pyörittämä Illuminaatti. Ei Bavarian Illuminaatti eikä Vatikaanin Illuminaatti, vaan CIAn pyörittämä Illuminaatti.
Joo. Tässä on muuten tämä Twitterin levinnyt pätkä, niin tässä siis joku tämmöinen tutkiva toimittaja niin törmäsi lentokentällä tämmöiseen kaksikkoon. Siinä on siis lapsi, jota kuljetetaan lentokentällä ja tuo toimittaja vähän epäili, että tässä on semmoinen lapsi, jota kuljetetaan lapsiseksiorjaksi. Ei ollut hirveän halukas keskustelemaan, mutta sitten se turvatarkastaja siinä ei halua kameralla puhua, mutta sitten piilokamerassa pätkässä se paljastaa, että nämä on tämmöisiä lapsiseksiorjakuljetuksia.
You said that you were on vacation and now you're moving this small house to the airport. I thought you were on vacation. Ma'am, I thought you were on vacation. What happened to that? Do you have any comment about children that have gone missing that you've helped to escort across the country? Is this MVM?
No.
We have footage here that a lot of these children don't know the sponsors that they are going to. What's going on? There's kids in the car here. They're moving these kids. They just turn the lights off. This is the MVM headquarters that we are currently at. There are kids in this van right here that they are moving. There's somebody that's going to come out. Let's see what they have to say. Hey, are you a manager here? Hey, we have spoken to some of these children, and they tell us that they don't know a lot of times the sponsors that they're going to. Do you have any comment on that at all? This is MVM, correct? You're not sure. Excuse me. What's going on here? There they go. And notice they got out of here in such a hurry that they just left their bags here. Think about it.
Laukitkin jäi maahan, kun oli niin kiire lähteä.
They got out of here. We don't even know what's in those bags. They just left them there and they took off in the van in such a hurry because that's how secret this operation is. They do not want you to know what is going on. That van that we just confronted, they are now taking off. We are following them. We believe that they're taking these kids to the airport. We have talked to some of these children that you guys escort, and some of these children have told us that their friends don't know the sponsors that they're going to. Are you okay with that? Excuse me, why are you all wearing masks? Do you have any comment on that? Why are you hiding your identity? Do you have any shame, sir? There's still time to redeem yourself. Would you like to see the footage that we caught of the girl admitting what's going on? Were their IDs even checked just there? Were their IDs even just checked? Who checked their ID?
Niin se on tuo vasemmanpuolimmainen vartija tuossa, niin se kohta puhuu piilokameralla, suostuu sitten paljastamaan, että ne on tommosia lapsia kidnappausoperaatioita.
I didn't see any ID check just there. There was no ID check. Right. Why weren't their IDs checked? If I was going to go here... I can't talk to anybody. I'm going to ask you, why do you guys ID American citizens when those children can't do you guys an ID number?
I'm not going to say anything like that. Are a lot of the kids coming over here, are they trafficked or like what's the... Some are. I'm not gonna lie. Some are.
Nyt sä paljastit, että osa niistä lapsista kidnapataan.
Does that happen a lot that the kids come over here with a totally fake name?
It has.
Yeah.
Väärennetyillä nimillä lennetään lentokentillä pitkin Amerikkaa.
There's no way for us to verify.
And so they come over here with a fake name and then they just come over and what? They just get a brand new identity. They could be anybody.
Have you seen that movie?
Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Exactly like that. Shit happens.
You guys.
Sitten se paljastaa tuossa, että nimenomaan tämä Sound of Freedom-leffa, niin se tapahtuu oikeastikin tätä lasta kidnappaa.
You have the kids coming over here with the notes that are attached to them with the addresses, right? And a lot of times those addresses lead to like a sex trafficker or something, right? That's legit.
Yeah.
Olisi muuten mielenkiintoista tietää, onko tuo muuten vielä työsuhteessa tai kyseinen ukko. Varmaan on irtisanottu, kun tämä
Voi olla.
niin.
There's a lot of
Sillähän aina tekee, että
that we can't tell.
ilmiantajat sitten ei pääse enää töihin ollenkaan.
What's the issue though? Why can't you guys talk on camera?
It's the policies that we have. Things that we can and can't say.
But why don't they want you talking on camera?
Eli vaikenemisen kulttuuri. Asioita, mistä emme voi sanoa.
What, like making the administration look bad? Or...
Yeah.
Damn.
Honestly, bro, I really wish it was more people like you
Yeah.
exposing this shit.
Yeah.
Because it truly is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
It is a horrible thing. But me, I can't do that.
You could blow the whistle on it.
No, I can't.
You could, but you're gonna lose your job.
Yeah, exactly.
You work for MVM, and MVM is an organization that has moved
I do
thousands
not
of...
work. I don't work for you.
You do not work for MVM?
I'm on vacation.
We've now landed in Houston, and it appears as if MVM has requested a police escort because they don't want media exposing what they're doing. But if you look, they have all of the kids wearing masks and they have them keeping their head down. All of the kids wearing masks, keeping their head down. They're telling them to hide their face. Many of these kids go missing. You said that you were on vacation and now you're moving this small child to the airport. I thought you were on vacation.
Ei tuo kyllä mitään lomailulta näytä kyllä ollenkaan.
Ei. Kasvomaski ja huppari, selkeästi halutaan olla piilossa. Länsimaat mukana ja Suomi mukana tässä, Suomen valtio mukana tässä toiminnassa.
Niin, se on kansainvälistä ja sitten kun siellä pyörii niin suuret rahat käytännössä, niin se ei halua yhtään mitään.
Ihmisorjakauppa on isompi teollisuuden aloja, huumeiden, aseiden, öljyn ja lääkkeiden rinnalla.
No, I'm not going out.
Mikähän pedofiili siinä napattiin?
Where are you guys moving these kids to? Whoa. Where are you guys moving these kids to? Hey, where are you guys moving these kids to in this black car?
Siinä niitä lapsiseksioria
Hey man, where is
kuljetetaan.
this going? Where is this driving to?
Lapsiseksioria lähtee pakettiautollinen jonnekin yksityiselle toimittajalle.
This is not looking good. Just all I'm asking is where this is going to, because a lot of these kids go missing. Where is this going to? That's all I want to know.
Okay, so where you working for? Who you working for? Roll up the window.
I'm independent media. And I've done a lot of work on this. My videos have millions of views. This is gonna look really bad if you roll up the window. Where are you guys taking these kids? That's all we want to know. Where are the kids going?
Okay, what do they tell you? What they tell you?
They won't tell me anything. Look, he's telling me to roll up the window.
Okay.
He's telling me to roll up the window. Where are you taking these kids? It's gonna look really bad if you roll up that window, bro. Where are you taking the kids to?
Okay, so who do you work for?
I'm independent. I work for myself. I'm an
Aika hiljaiseksi menee toi ukko, ei suostu kertomaan, minne on menossa.
independent news reporter. Where are you going, man? Who do you... Whoa.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry. No, I have to put
Where
the
are you
window
going?
off.
Where are you taking these kids to?
Sorry, buddy.
Oh my God. Hey, where are you guys flying to today? Where are you guys driving to?
Why?
Well, a lot of these kids, a third of these kids, according to the New York Times, go missing.
Oh, well, not these.
Not these?
They're with us.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I'm just curious. You guys going to a foster home?
No, sir. It doesn't matter where they're going.
Oh, okay.
We don't need to.
Well,
answer
how can we guarantee this kid's safety? Because you're not going to check up on them, right?
you don't know that.
Well, there's a 30-day wellness check that happens after you drop them off, right? And a third of those calls
But
go
again,
unanswered.
you don't know what we're doing. So thank you.
Do you work with MVM or Southwest Key? Hola. Whoa, do you tell these kids not to talk?
Yeah.
You tell these kids not to talk?
Ask my permission to be on.
Well,
camera.
this is a one party.
You didn't
It's a one party consent state, New York. This is a public place. Unfortunately, I'll give you some space. That's fine. Hola. ¿Cómo estás, amigos? Yo soy un amigo. No problema. No problema. ¿Qué país tú? Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. ¿Qué país? What? No problema. Es América. Es América. No problema aquí.
Ne on tosiaan Luciferin palvoja, ihan niin kuin tuossa chatissä kirjoitetaan.
No.
Juurikin.
Niin kuin Didi-bileissäkin oli justiin se demonit ja saatanan palvonta aika lähellä. Aika paljon mukana menossa. Ja siis toi Pedowood ja Jenkkien eliitti on aika paljon saatanan palvonnassa mukana. Jenkkien koko Illuminaatti on suoraan saatanan palvonnassa. Muualla Illuminaatti tekee vain saatanan palvonnan vastaavia rikoksia, mutta Jenkkien Illuminaatti on suoraan saatanan palvonnassa mukana. Pedowood ja muu.
Mitäs muuten veikkaat, mitä käy siinä P. Diddy-keisissä?
Siitä on koko ajan uusia tiedotuksia. Kyse on sitä, että mitä peliä Jenkeissä pelataan. Se on vähän vaikea ennustaa. Se on Deep State haluaa, että pedarit voittaa, mutta on vastavoimia ja sitten Trumphan vastustaa ihmiskauppaa ja haluaa varastetut lapset takaisin sun muuta. Trump haluaa lopettaa sen, mutta 20 päivää niin Trumpista tulee pressaa. Nähdään, että tuleeko mitään muutosta jenkkipedofiliaa ja väkivaltarikoksiin lapsille ja sun muille ihmisille, jenkkien ihmisorjakauppaan.
Sehän oli kans toi P. Diddy, niin hyvä frendi ton Obaman kanssa. Näkyy tässä.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
We applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating.
Huomaa kyllä ihan kukkelessa toi äijä.
I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool. And
Tuossa niin huomaa, miten kokaini tekee ihmisille. Hirveä superreko nousee. I'm so cool! Vittu mä oon kova jätkä! Vittu mä oon kova jätkä! Ei vittu mä oon kova jätkä! Tuommoista tekee niin kokaini ihmisille.
Joo.
Tämä esimerkki. Hirveä superreko nousee esiin.
Ja.
Vaikka todellisuudessa ne on ihan täysiä luusereita noita tyypit. Jotka
on joo. Ja huumeiden käyttö ja päihteiden käyttö on häviäjille. Mutta siis ilmiantajien mukaan Obama ja Michelle Obama on osallistuneet Didin bileisiin ja tehneet seksuaalirikoksia siellä ilmiantajien mukaan.
Se oli aina se hauski video, se Steve Ballmer, joka oli se Microsoftin mainoshenkilö, niin se oli aina kokkeli päässä riehu niissä tilaisuuksissa. Pistetään muuten tämä klassikko pyörimään. Tässä niin näkee, mitä kokaini saa aikaan ihmisille. Semmoinen niin täysin simpassimainen käytös.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ballmer!
I got 4 words for you. I love this
Cocaine voisi tulla tuohon perään.
company. Yes!
Mutta kyllähän siinä Didi-tapauksessa niin me kyllä veikkaa, että sille varmaan käy ihan samalla tavalla kuin Epsteinille, että sellistä löytyy samalla lailla.
Joo.
Siellä luultavasti. Koska eihän ne kato päästä sitä sinne oikeuteen, jos se alkaa vuotaa.
Se on nyt jo psykologisen ohjelmoinnin kohteena, eli se pelkää, että se ruokia myrkytetään, joka tarkoittaa, että se on CIAn psykologisen kidutuksen ohjelmoinnin alla, eli mind controlin alla, eli se huumataan samaan aikaan ja joutuu psykologisen ohjelmoinnin kohteeksi. Jos se ruokia myrkytetään, niin mikään muu ei voi olla kyseessä. Eli se ei syö sen takia, että se on laitettu lääke- ja huumeaineita sen ruokiin, jota se pystytään helpommin ohjelmoimaan, että CIA pitää tietonsa turvassa.
Mikähän tämä juttu, kun Will Smith on vähän avautunut Didistä.
Yeah.
2 viikkoa sitten.
I did 2 shows in San Diego. It was flames, man. Just to like really, we did the full like unplug, strip down. You know how when I do a show, you know I got pyro and stuff flying around.
So you had a pyro there?
No, it was none of that. It was stripped down. It was stripped down.
The world we're in right now, it's really hard for y'all to like discern what's real and what's true, you know? And I've been seeing y'all memes and stuff. People be making memes. I see the memes. I say, no, some of that stuff is funny. Some of it's funny. But I haven't addressed any of this publicly, but I just want to say this very clearly. I don't have to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop all the memes. I can stop it. I ain't been nowhere near no damn freak off. Listen, I do enough of my own. Don't be putting me in other people's. I ain't been nowhere near that man. I ain't did none of that stupid. So Whenever y'all hear it, if somebody say that, it's a damn lie. I don't even like baby oil.
Onhan se tuossa selvää, että kun ne on kaikki käynyt tuon Diddy-bileissä, niin ne yrittää sitten väittää, että ei ole mitään, ei ole ollut missään tekemisissä ja ei ollut missään tekemisissä.
No. No, but I haven't said that publicly. I just said y'all the first time. I usually don't respond to dumb stuff because it's like people. It's so many things people say so much stuff, but you know that one it was your memes was doing too much. Y'all was having me mad.
I said people got heroes.
Yo, Diamond.
Oh, I'm talking about you.
You talking about what you said?
Heroes, but then you got that hero, that one hero. That's my brother Will Smith right here. Let's give him a round of applause. Happy Easter,
what's up, man? Family, what's the deal? What's happening, baby?
What's up, baby? I see we on you this quarantine pup talking to quarantine Will, and it's all it is ultra bright, radiant, glowing wisdom.
I love that. Yeah, we got our quarantine beards going on too.
Yeah.
It was intimate. And it was like, intimate and just trying to with the new music, like people are all the way there, for the nostalgia. So I wanted to not have none of the bells and whistles and just try to, reconnect in the new space that, will be.
Mutta kyllähän sielläkin kyllä tuossa Hollywoodin pedofiilirinkin sarjassa, niin kyllä siellä tuon Didinkin jälkeen joku pääsee istumaan. Se on aika hidasta sitten, että missä sarjassa niitä menee sinne. Se on semmoista tavallaan showtahan toi periaatteessa on se oikeudenkäyntihomma.
Niin, ja kyllähän siis jenkkien eliitti pitää pyörimässä, niin se pitää olla pedofiilirinkin toiminta.
Onhan nyt olla USA:ssakin tämä Hollywoodin porukka, niin ihan semmoisia samanlaisia kokkelivekkuleita ne on sielläkin.
Kokainin tuhoaa aivoja myös, se aiheuttaa se pysyvyyden egoistisia aivovammoja. Tyypeistä tulee pysyvästi egoisteja. Ja sitten taiteilijat usein kärsii narsismista ja muutenkin, niin tekee todella hyvää.
Voisi vielä muuten chattiin laittaa se Anneke Lucasin podcastin, että se löytyy tuosta osoitteesta. Se on totta, että se on tuo kokaini, se on se Kolumbian vientituote Nicaraguankin kanssa. Mutta sitten jos lähtisi tutkimaan, että mitkä organisaatiot käytännössä omistaa ne huumekartellit, niin se on kuule. Niin, no YouTubessahan ei saa sanoa sitä lääkeyhtiön nimeä. Ei sitten sanota, mutta kyllä kaikki varmaan tietää niitä yhtiöitä, että käytännössä ihan sama organisaatio ovat todellisuudessa.
Täällä alkaa olla vähän myöhään, että mä oon vähän väsynyt. Mä en ole varmaan hyvä viihdettä enää katsojille.
Juu, mutta hei, oli hyvä lähetys taas.
Kiitos.
Hyvät uudet vuodet kaikille katsojille.
Hyvät uudet vuodet, kiitos.
Vuosi vaihtuu kanssa. Ja pistäkää kanavaa tilaukseen.